Hey guys, we're live with my friend Trent Allan for another Founder Wisdom Pod. Third time on the podcast. Trent has done hard shit in the past, Kokoro endurance event, and has founded a bunch of cool companies. Trent right now is a fractional COO, which is interesting. So I think Trent, you gave up FX1 last year, right? So let's start with that. What happened with FX1 and what are you doing nowadays?
So just thought it was time to leave. I was 5 years into the project. I'd done a lot for the company and just thought it was a change. 5 years is a long time, and just kind of, revisited things over the last Christmas break and just thought, I need a change, and that was it. So, but very, very excited looking forward and what's coming up next. So what I'm actually working on now, which is actually quite new, is I've just recently joined the team at Proof. It's proofplatform.io. That's the website. At Proof, we help. It's a Web3 startup incubator that help projects launch their own crypto token.
Huh, that's
So
quite interesting.
yeah, the common saying is that Proof projects pump because that's what naturally happens when projects launch on Proof. The contract is audited, it's a safer launch. And because people know that Proof projects kind of pump, it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy that they actually do pump. So it's really helping avoid and stop scams out there because people know that they can be trusted, because there's a whole vetting process to come onto the platform and get accepted, because we don't accept everyone. So I've recently joined the team, very happy to be there, and I really do believe in the mission of the company and what they're there to do and the success that they've had in recent times. So yeah, that's what I'm up to now, what I'm working on right now.
And FX1, what do you think is going to happen with it? Are you still bullish about the concept?
Yeah, it's up to the team that is there and the leadership that's there to take it to where it can go to. I still do see a lot of potential in the company, but it's going to take strong leadership and growth and progress to take it forward and make it into what I believe it can be. So, but it's hard to say that when you're no longer involved, right? Because it's I know that I can no longer make that my thing or influence it directly. So it really depends. But yes, I do inherently, but again, I don't really have anything to do with it. So I can't put my own effort into it and ensure that it can happen that way. So yeah.
Right. And okay, so you have Proof now, still very bullish on Web3 and blockchain's potential. I'm involved in, I think 15% of my clients nowadays are crypto clients. So we both share that. Will you also do the fractional COO thing? And when will be your next startup launch?
So I think for now, it's really the fractional COO thing is it's still there in the background, but really my focus now is on Proof. Like that's what I've as mentioned, that's what I've recently started, and I don't look too far forward. I always think about the future in certain light, but right now that's the focus. Really want to try and help Proof grow, scale, and build into what I think they can truly be over time. So that's really what the focus is now. In terms of what I do after that, I'm just not sure yet. Not really focused on that. More focused on what's ahead of me right now. But yeah, your point to like the crypto aspect, I think that we've only just seen the start of it. I think with the recent changes and in the government, Trump being about to be brought in as the next US president, and the pro crypto, people he's brought in, I think the sentiment is changing. And I truly do believe that one day, 89% of the population will be involved in crypto, not just the small percentage that it currently are. I do believe it solves a lot of the world's problems, and I think it's what the world's been searching for a very long time, and we now have it. So it's really good to see that the president-elect and the government, the US government, are getting behind crypto, Bitcoin in particular, but also the crypto in general. And like I said, I am very, very bullish on this because I see the light, I see the future, and I see the amount of problems this new form of currency solves for the world and for the US in particular. So I'm very bullish on it. I see the future. I believe I see the future correctly. I do think we've not seen anything yet. I do see Bitcoin continually rising in price. I see other crypto projects being more accepted, and I see it coming out of the dark ages where it once was scams and rugs and people doing bad stuff and paying for drugs, and where it's now an accepted form of currency and an accepted investment for a growing number of people.
Love that. Yo, let's double click on the crypto convo here. So yeah, hopefully you'll get out of the dark ages. I think criminals were attracted a lot to that technology, not only using it for their own bank accounts, but to also steal as a way of stealing others' money. It was sort of easy to enter a smart contract and liquidate someone out of their 35K investment in this age. And yeah, hopefully with more people using it, it gets more serious. Who do you think would be at the base of this ecosystem? Would it be Coinbase? Is it the Bitcoin technology? Like, who's creating the highway for crypto right now?
I think it comes from a regulatory aspect, because when the government gets behind something and supports it, that creates a lot of trust in the system. When you are new to crypto, you typically buy from exchanges. So you may see that Trump's really bullish on Bitcoin and crypto in general. So you say, well, I'm going to buy some because he's bullish on it. You typically will go to a crypto exchange like Coinbase or Kraken, or one of the ones that come up in a search that you may have heard of. And that's where you'll particularly make your first buy. So I do think they are really important pieces of the ecosystem, because it makes it really, really simple for someone to buy crypto and hold crypto. The problem with exchanges is that they can go down. And so once you become a bit more savvy with crypto, you'll understand that the old age saying is that not your keys, not your crypto. What that means is unless you are holding your own keys, it's not really your crypto, it's someone else's crypto. And when you hold crypto on an exchange like Coinbase or Kraken or any of the other ones, you don't have your keys. They don't present you your keys. They got your keys. It's their crypto, really. If they go down, so does your crypto. So as you become more savvy, you understand the power of hardware wallets and cold wallets, and where you can hold the crypto but also your keys. So I see that there's multiple aspects of it that really bring it together and really promote it, but it's all of those things. So I do see the exchanges as important pieces. I do see the hardware wallets like Trezor are really important because they offer a safer alternative. But the future, I believe, is more and more companies becoming regulated by the government and being insured by the government. So, you got BlackRock and these recent Bitcoin ETFs that just launched. That allows people to buy Bitcoin and feel safe because they know that they're backed by the government. So that's what I think it's going to take, because some of these exchanges are not backed by the government. Like Celsius was not backed by the government. BlockFi was not backed by the government. Those companies went under, and a lot of people lost crypto by putting their trust in those companies. So if you look at it recently, you had the banking issue. The Silicon Valley Bank went down. They had a bank run last year, and so did a number of other banks. And the only thing that saved them was the government. The government came in and put the money back into those banks to save them and ensure that people weren't, ruined, or businesses weren't ruined. And that's what the crypto world needs. It needs more exchanges that are regulated by the government and provide insurances in the event that they go down, that the government will back them, because that's how people truly have trust in investing their money. They trust BlackRock. They trust, a number of the other highly regulated traditional stock platforms. And so that's what it will take. I think most people don't want to hold their own hardware wallet. They don't have the expertise to do it. So they need to put their trust in someone else. And trust comes down to a few things. And one of those is being government backed and having, a certain amount of money that's guaranteed in the event that things go south. So that's where I think it is. They're the different aspects and the way that I think about it.
Right. And proof itself, I think it's a cool gig because, yeah, you'll work with various projects at the same time, will give you nice data. But how do you make sure that it's not a pump and dump? How do you legitimize the projects? How do you filter them?
It starts with the founders, because the founders, like any company, are the people that drive that company forward. So it's about understanding if they have a vision, understanding what their business does, and looking at their past experience. Do they have past business experience? Have they built companies in the past, or is this their first gig where they're likely to go on and fail? So a lot of it is the people and the founders. Past that, Proof manages the smart contract, so the rug and the scam is removed because Proof actually launches the contract on their behalf at the beginning. So that's what we do. We remove all of that worry about it being a scam, because we vet the people to make sure they're legitimate, and then we also launch the contract, which just removes any scams that are going to happen. Doesn't mean it's guaranteed to be a successful launch and people are going to make a lot of money off it, but it does remove a lot of that uncertainty around the project. From there, there's a number of things that need to come together. They need to have a good website. They need to have a strong vision of what they're doing. They ideally need to have a working product. They ideally need to be making revenue. Like any business, like any good business out there, they make revenue. So there's a number of aspects that go into whether or not that will be a successful launch from a market cap perspective and a volume perspective. But it starts with good people. It starts with launching on Proof. And then it starts with that company progressing, continuing to make money, continuing to reinvest in their own project and their own token, as well as ensure that they can get support from KOLs and marketing out there that really gets their token and the awareness of what they're doing out there, so that more and more people become aware of the project, more and more people buy into the project, and that creates its own, momentum. So it's a lot of things, but it's also consistency over time. A launch happens on day one, but these things are out there for a very long time. So it's about not just day one, but about continuing the effort, growing the company, growing the business, and ensuring that the token that they launch has some kind of strong tie back to the business, whether it be in the way the business works or a revenue share model or something that really ties it all together. So no one easy answer, but they're some of the things that I think about when it comes to what it takes to launch successfully and ensure that you have a successful token beyond just a successful business.
Right. To me, crypto is also a cool opportunity to sort of compete against the big bank and folks at the top that just are grasping onto their money and have a moat that is impenetrable. Like these folks disregard crypto and so forth. The tokenomics is also fun as well. It's a nice fundraising way. Do you feel that we've advanced also on the legal side of things? Like if I start a project right now, do we still need a lawyer on board? Is GPT enough to build up some contracts, some smart contracts to code them? Yeah. So from also a coding side and a legal side, like, do we still need like these people involved to launch a project, or can I solo AI build myself?
So I'll start with the legal side. It is always advised to get some legal advice, I think. I don't think you can ever go wrong with that, because it depends on what you're doing and where your business sits. But there is nothing illegal about launching a token on a blockchain. There's nothing illegal about it at all. So you can go and launch one without legal advice. It just really depends on who you are and what's behind the project, because as we all know, it's only the really big companies and where a lot of the money sits that attracts the attention from government. So if you're a small project and you don't have a lot of liquidity added to the project, you may not need any legal advice at all. But it probably always recommended to maybe get it, but you don't necessarily need it to launch your own token, right? So, and then when it comes to the coding, I think that you can use AI, you can use ChatGPT or one of the other models out there. Remember though that contracts are public. You can go and view the code of any smart contract out there. So you can go and find a really successful project that's launched their own token. You can grab the source code and you can literally launch your own token with that same source code, right? You can copy and paste it. So you really don't need to spend a lot of money in smart contract development, because they're all public. And with the use of AI, you can easily take an existing contract and modify it with the help of AI without any really knowledge of Solidity or whatever language the contract uses. you can use AI to help modify it and even audit it for you. So that's why it's quite cheap to launch a contract, because the code's public. You can get access to it, and you can, if you want, make your own slight changes to it with the help of AI, especially, or the help of a development agency out there. So that's why the money's not really in the code or the launching of it. It's more in who's behind that project and the other things that I just talked about in terms of what makes that a successful launch. So that's how I think about both of those things. But I would think that as you grow as a company, you probably want the lawyer more so on your business and what you're doing with your business, your terms, your privacy policy, and the other aspects that go into what you're doing as a company, more so just the blockchain aspect of it. So that's how I think about it, because I think the legals from a blockchain perspective really come down to the regulations and what the government says about what it is to launch these tokens.
And if there's been some people that have launched these past projects that were sort of scammy before, are these folks still launching nowadays? Is there ways to detect that their project or themselves are crap? And yeah, do you feel these people, these folks should be sort of forgiven for the crap that they launched before?
So there are ways. It's never been easier to vet projects. There are tools like Dex Screener and Dex Tools, among others, that give you a lot of information on the contract, on the pool. They give you feedback on what other people said about it. So these tools out there make it really easy to understand how it's built and if there are any potential red flags. They even have a market list of like all these attributes, and they give ticks and crosses against them to show you if there's any red flags. So it's really easy to determine with a quick view of these projects on those tools if it's a scam or if it's a bit fishy. And so we're living in an age where it's becoming more and more safer. Saying that, though, when a project's launched with proof, you know that it's legitimate because of the fact that it's gone through that screening process. And that's why Proof and other competitors similar to Proof are there, because they really take that off the table. You know that if it's done with them, it's safe. Saying that, though, any project not launched with a incubator like Proof can be easily or more easily verified on Dex Tools or Dex Screener, as well as going and looking at their markers, like what's their X following like? Do they have a lot of followers on YouTube? Do they exist there? Do they have people talking about them? Do they have credible people talking about them? These are all the things that will give you an understanding of whether it's safe or not. And then when it comes to people, that's a big thing. Founders, again, they depict where the company goes and what it does. There are companies out there like Assure DeFi, which Assure basically help KYC founders who remain anonymous. So they allow crypto projects or founders of projects that want to remain anonymous to verify themselves, so that someone out there knows they're legitimate, and that someone, being Assure, can then tell the community, hey, they're legitimate, we've verified them, we know who they are. You can trust them without actually knowing who they are. So there's services like that available that help you form trust. But I think the criminals, which is what those people are that you're referring to, that did scam people, should they be trusted again? Well, I think everyone deserves a second chance, but I think it's up to them to be able to prove and create that trust over time. So can they be trusted? I don't know. It's up to the individuals to know if they want to trust those people or not. But I think it comes down to trust takes a long time to build and a very short time to ruin. So it's about those people building up that trust again. So that's a hard question to answer. But yeah.
Yeah, we need an AI for that, because even let's say like clients that I had 5 years ago, if I look back at what I did back then, like from a performance level, right, I'm not the same as before. I never tried to scam anyone, but if they would try me again nowadays, being who I am, like it's 100x better, right? So, but I mean, there's a difference between like ill intentions and trying your best, and selling some people on stuff that does not exist just to profit from them. So yeah, very, very tough topic. For proof, you charge, zero transaction fees after 31 days, 1% before Yeah, the 2% the first 24 hours and 1% the next 30 days, which is a very good deal, by the way. How long does it take to actually launch a project and then monetize it? Because it seems pretty profitable and it seems like a very fair incubation offer. But what if I would start my own proof and I would have to invest 200 hours in a project and I'm seeing an ROI on 10% of them? Isn't that a risky business model?
So so on the price, and that's how it works. Proof profits off the first 30 days of trading. The benefit of that is that there is zero cost up front. It doesn't cost anything for a project to start with proof. That's all completely free. And that includes the advice, the guidance, the expertise from people that have been in the game for a long time to help guide that project, ensure they have the right market set up for a successful launch. It also includes the writing of the contract and the auditing of the contract. Contract auditing is a lucrative business and one that some auditors charge a lot of money, like tens of thousands of dollars, to get contracts audited. So all of that is done and provided for the project off the bat. All they've got to do, which is a lot, is ensure they have a strong business model, ensure they've got a good website, a good community to support with the launch. So that's why it's a good thing, because really there's not that much risk. There's no cost up front, and proof only makes money if the project is successful. And these contracts will have tax on them, and that's what allows the company or project to make money. So yes, proof are taking a fee, but the company is also taking a fee. And when we pass 31 days of the project, then the project gets to take 100% of that fee back. So yeah, that's how I kind of answer that. That it is a good business model because there's no risk for the platform, but the platform still has to do a lot in terms of getting it ready so that it's successful, that it is a successful launch, because there's a lot of other things that make up that launch, not just the contract code. Like I mentioned before, that's kind of cheap because you can download the code and reuse it. It's more so knowing that the trust is there, and you get trust when you launch with someone like Proof.
Love it, Trent. Thank you so much for showing up today. Top value here, and I want to stay connected on the crypto side of things because heavily involved into this myself nowadays and got a bunch of friends. So where can people find out more about you?
You can find me on LinkedIn. Just search for Trent Allan. The Allan is with an A, so ALLAN. Otherwise, that's my main platform. You can also check out Proof. Go to proofplatform.io. And yeah, that's where you can find me.
That was Trent Allan for his third